Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Emo Social Club podcast. In this surprise recording that we're doing all of a sudden.
Yeah. Honestly, I completely forgot we were also supposed to record tonight, so I looked at my calendar. And then apparently I got busy tonight.
So, we're here. We're where we are. We're recording live on YouTube from wherever we are right now. I'm in my room with my new Twitch streaming setup with my microphone and my cool camera, which is 720p right now. Sorry, that's something that bothers me as a person who likes to watch things in 1080, but it is what it is.
Wait, what's wrong?
It's just the audio will sound fine. It'll just be whatever with the camera. Where are you sitting right now?
I'm in this phone call weird mini office room with this weird office in my office in the loop. Nice.
Well, at least you got a spot. It's not a coffee shop with the music playing.
I have a spot with the door. A locked door. People listen over here and be like, what the fuck?
Fuck them. Because we always forget every time we do an episode, we're going to start with the plugs. Lizzie, you said you don't have anything. Do you want to just plug your life?
I really don't have too much. My life has just been, I'm in school, so if you start seeing, writings that I'm posting in the next couple of weeks for class, we'll post them up for some reason, and then you can go read it.
Follow on Twitter.
Follow on Twitter at Borden Bathory, like Lizzie Borden and Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, you know those guys.
Killers, very, normal stuff.
Yeah. Kids and their serial killers.
Same thing on Insta is Borden Bathory. So, same across platforms. Gotta have the consistency.
Yeah, perfect. This is on, every Tuesday, Thursday, I'm streaming live on Twitch from 6 to 8 p.m. Tuesdays.
You probably should have done it Monday and Wednesdays, but whatever.
We're probably moving it. Since Lizzie has class on Monday, Wednesday. So for right now, it's Tuesday, Thursday, and I'll update when we make the change. But at least on Tuesday, we're streaming Life is Strange, which is a really weird game that I am enjoying. It's good, but I also am like, this is very overdramatic. And I mean, watch the streams. They're up on there if you want to watch them, Lizzie. But they are, it's just a weird game. It's just very this girl randomly gets the power to reverse time, and so you make all these decisions, which then the story plays out from there. But you can always go back and change what you do so that you have a different. It's basically, except you can immediately go back and make a new decision. I haven't been able to watch Bandersnatch because it doesn't work on Apple TVs, which is, life.
I wonder who is the superior.
I can watch it on my Apple phone.
Wow, but you can't watch the entirety on a whole ass TV? Don't come at me.
So it's like a choose your own adventure, but you get to consistently go back and choose a new adventure the whole time. Which just, I feel like every decision I make is was it the right one? It always is leading you to think maybe I didn't make the right decision. No matter which one you pick, there's just no right one. And I'm that's not, I get so much anxiety about it. I'm not doing the right thing. I should go back.
Evolved in the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's really just devastating sometimes. Oh boy, I should have done the other thing, but I'm writing it out. We'll see where it goes. One streaming session is about one episode, so we're 2 episodes in now. Third episode will be next week on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And then I'm playing Metal Gear Solid right now on Thursdays as nostalgia games. So that's just the first one we're doing. We're about almost halfway through that game. And then, yeah, we'll move on to other nostalgia games after that. I also bought Persona 5, which is like, it's basically a choose your own adventure game too, but it's entirely anime. So I'm not gonna
I hate this.
I'm not gonna talk about it much here, but
I hate this.
yeah, it's really good. I've only played the beginning of it. I'm not that far, but it's really good, and I really like it. So there's that. Yeah,
Wow.
so twitch.tv/emo social club. It's in the links of all of our stuff. Follow us, find us. A little background on Twitch that I'm still learning. I don't know that much about Twitch overall, but
if you know more about Twitch, please help Brian. Drop a comment. Please help him.
I'm fine with assistance. Hopefully, future episodes of this podcast will be streamed. If we need to do something like this, will be streamed live on Twitch. So worth the following us there for that now. But also, in order to move to like kind of like the next tier, I'm sure you know that there's like people that are on Twitch and streamers that like move up in sort of, you know, you can make money. Like everybody knows Ninja now because he did the fucking like New Year's Eve bash in Times Square, and like everybody knows who Ninja is, and which is really weird because he's just a streamer of the game Fortnite. Sure. But in order to kind of like get up those tiers, you need to like hit some milestones. One of those is getting 50 followers within a 30-day period. So we're still working on that. But if you have a Twitch account, I don't care if you get notified or anything. Just like go on there and like hit the little follow on our page so that you're following us.
You can just like hardly use it. Like, just go on and follow it. I think one of my friends ended up doing that, and he's like, I really don't use this for anything, but I'll follow you. And I was like,
totally fine. Like, here's what I want in 2019. Here's what I am, like, willing to do for people if they're willing to do it for us or for their friends or whoever. Is like, yo, if you need support on something and it's free for that person to do it, like, just do it. Like, just take a second and do it for your friend. Like,
what you're talking about is a very spicy take, because there's a lot of people, especially in like the DIY and like freelance underground scene, obviously, which is understandable, who say like, well, if your friends really value you, you should be paying them. And I get it, I agree, but at the same time, none of you have fucking money.
Like,
unless you are working, if you are lucky enough to be working an office job, but at the same time, like, you have to factor in everything else.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's your friend and they're asking for something very minimal in comparison, like, if they're asking you to do, like, a whole ass film for some reason for free, obviously that's completely erroneous to do.
Yeah.
But if it's like, hey, can you do, like, headshots for me? Can you do, like, a quick promo shoot for me? And, like, I'll buy you dinner or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think it's just a big reciprocity thing. But I also just do that with my friends. I'm not a person who, like, keeps the tally and, like, adds up how much money my friends owe me. Like, that's really shitty, personally, is what I think.
Yeah, agree.
So I just feel like it's a give and take. Like, if they came to me and they said, hey, can you help me record and edit, like, an audio piece? I'd be like, cool, whatever. Like, we'll figure it out, like, time-wise, and I'll get it to you when I can. And that's the thing too, is that if you're doing it for free, you obviously have to work within their time constraints. That's usually the one negative about it that people would see, you know. And then I could see if you're like, hey, I need this like in the next 3 days, I'll pay you to do it wherever. I get that. But if it's like, hey, I need this in the next 3 days and I need you to put off all your paid projects, like, that's shitty. But, you know, if you're saying like, oh, it's just, we'll get it done whenever, I feel like, you know, do it for your friend. Like, your friend's probably done more shit for you than you could ever really repay back. Like, how many times have you had to call your friend at 5 a.m. to come and get you from Chicago? Me. Listen, you can do something for that friend. You all had that fucking friend.
I agree. I mean, from every level, I think you can find something you can do for somebody that's close to you. Like, if you see a friend of yours who's in a band on Facebook posting, like, here's our new song, here's our new video, like, a quick like on that post, like, let's just talk algorithms for every social media, is like a like on that post, a share of that post, a comment on the post, listening to the song, giving it views, or if it's a video, giving it listens, if it's a song or whatever, like that is all adding up to a larger picture of what that person needs overall, because algorithms on every social media react to the interactions that they get from it. And if this is one of your friends, somebody that you like, I'm not even saying you have to like the music, but I'm saying if this is somebody that you like as a person and somebody you want to support, just doing the bare minimum of clicking like or clicking share, clicking retweet, clicking whatever, it does nothing. It does nothing against you. It takes, let's not talk about like data, I guess, but like collecting like data, like this guy obviously really likes local pop punk bands, but it does something for that person who's trying to live out whatever they're trying to do. I don't care what level this is at, really. I think it's just like, if you support the person, then support them in the easiest and freest way to you, which is just
literally.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to do with Twitch now, is just like, hey, like, I don't care if you're on Twitch, I don't care if you watch me stream, but like, if you have an account, if you've never used it, if you don't follow anybody else, like, at the least, like, go to their page and just like hit follow. There's an option there when you hit follow that says, do you want to receive notifications? You can leave that off, I don't care. Like, but just like kind of highlighting that somebody that somebody you care about is doing something is like part of the, I don't know, it's part of the scene. It's part of like friendship nowadays.
Like when falls in a pit, you help them back up and make sure they're good. It's like literally the same thing, just like no one's knocking each other over, like physically.
And I'm in a pit of no one watching me play video games on Twitch. People watch. I've actually, there's a couple people that have
I've done the notifications from our email that people subscribe.
There's a couple people that have literally come just from me playing on Twitch. So if you're a new listener, hi, hello, nice to have you here. But yeah, like, people just like, it's about if you're not sure what Twitch is, playing video games on streaming live, like it's more than just like, here I am playing this video game I like and being a real nerd and screaming just because I'm trying to attract children who like dudes that scream or something. I don't know. That happens. I've seen a lot of that. But it's really more about like building. It's kind of the same thing that I think we do here on the podcast, or what we do if we go to see a local show, is like, you're building a community of people, like-minded people, who are interested in something the same as you are. And so you meet people from that community and you get to know more people, and you widen your circle of people that just have similar interests. And there's a lot of interaction that can go on. There's a lot of people talking on there. Like, Brendan Urie has been streaming for a while now. Like, he just goes on like every day or so. He's been playing Fortnite, but a lot of it's also just like talking about Panic at the Disco. He reviewed
the real content that we're here for.
Yeah, he reviewed a guy who is a vocal coach who watched a lot of like live performances of Brendan Urie's and like reviewed him. Like, he's like, this is why Brendan Urie is such a good singer. He can do this. He has such control over his voice. And Brendan Urie is like watching this dude talk about him, and he's just like, yeah, I don't know any of that. Like, I'm just doing my best, man. Like, I'm just out here doing what I can do as a singer, but thanks. And like, that's so, like, to me, that's just so cool that like he's sort of doing something for his community around Panic at the Disco for his fans. Like, it's giving back to his fans and creating a community around it. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of his streams. It's pretty neat. I like it.
That's good to know. I didn't even think that Brendan Urie fucking used streaming services like Twitch. So. Oh
yeah. No, he's actually like, he has it in his studio at his home, but now that they're on tour, he's actually building it, I think, in the bus, or at least like sort of like a mobile situation where he can stream from. And he's like, I think that a lot of people, a lot of artists, a lot of musicians or whomever are just going to really find the value of being able to instantaneously communicate with their fan base, or instantaneously communicate with their communities, where you can just jump on Twitch, start talking to your friends, start talking to your fans, start talking to everybody, and then like get to like see this person from a different perspective of like, oh, I see him as a musician. I see the music videos. I see him in interviews. But like now you're just seeing him like sit around playing Fortnite with like he played Fortnite with Dylan Francis and the photographer that's on tour with them, and I think another guy that they've been on tour with, and a like Miley Cyrus cousin. Like
That's
not
weird.
yeah, but like he knows these people, so it's just like famous people like sitting around playing Fortnite and like talking, chilling. I don't know. I like it. So if you follow us, then go and follow Brendan Urie and then watch his streams.
Obviously.
So yeah, Twitch is neat. But what I really wanted to talk about on this episode, there was a new song released by famed emo band, The Killers. First of all, Mr. Brightside being one of the greatest songs ever written. It is relatively an emo song. I'm willing to put it in the emo-ish category. It was more alternative, I think, at the time, like, but it's an emo song. Killers is fucking emo.
And like the biggest thing is if you haven't aggressively scream sang to Mr. Brightside at some point in your life and like have grabbed your friend and like screamed in their face, you haven't lived.
If you say that you haven't done that, you're a fucking liar. Because you've done it.
Or you're just a loser. So it's either you're a liar or a loser. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather be a liar than I'd rather be neither. So
I mean, or if you've been privileged enough, I was able to see the last half of the Killers at Lollapalooza a couple years ago, and they ended with Mr. Brightside, of course. And me and my friend were like, it was so sweaty and gross and everything because it's in the middle of summer in Chicago, so everyone. I just want to die when I'm outside. So we ran down because it's on the main stage, and it's like you have to like literally run a mile from where we were at, and we started dancing around and like thrashing into each other. And I knocked her on the ground because she wasn't ready for it. And then all these people, because there was no way we could get anywhere near the front. There was no way. So we were like near the back, middle. And these people were like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Like, do you not understand what's going on right now? Do you not understand? Why aren't you doing that? Why are we starting an impromptu mosh pit right now?
Yeah, to Mr. Brightside. So the Killers released a new song. It's called "Land of the Free." I saw it through Pitchfork, which you retweeted on our account on the twits, on the twit longers.
On the twit, yeah, I saw where you were going with that, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. So I checked out the song, and it's very reminiscent of I thought sort of like a folk protest song, like from the 60s and 70s. Like it wasn't so much like the same sort of Killers we're used to. I also saw like a bit of an interview from, well, no, not an interview from Brendan, but he wrote like some notes on his Apple Notes app and posted it on Twitter or something, on the Killers Twitter. And said like that he started to write it in He wrote it after Sandy Hook. They started writing the first draft of the song after Sandy Hook, and like just wrote about all of the sort of issues that we have sort of affecting our society right now, and it just spans the gamut across everything that's going on right now.
I think what's really interesting is that the fact with the style music that they're playing is more 60s and 70s, which we saw during that time was a huge counterculture movement. I mean, we had like the hippies versus the yuppies and everything like that. And during that time, we also had like Springsteen. We had like Grateful Dead with like 20-minute fucking songs and like Deadheads and everything. So during that time, it was very protest because it was anti-Vietnam War and pretty much anti, everything that was going on during that time that was way too conventional, essentially. So to see that in contrast now to, it's kind of, I feel like, wanting to prompt another counterculture movement to the extent of which that it shocked the 60s and 70s. You know, hippies were like completely unheard of during that time, and it shocked people. And I feel like now it might prompt that we should be able to go and do something similar in some way, shape, or form, and shock, the other side of society, like people who are like, for example, like in the GOP, or people who are, really for gun rights and are not hearing and understanding that there needs to be, control of how people get these, weaponry. I feel like that's just really what it's coming to. And I mean, right now we have like the government shutdown, and like people who are, for example, on the SNAP and food stamps aren't going to be able to receive those benefits come, halfway through February, not even March.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people who receive that, they're very lower income, and they don't usually have accessibility to great food options, and they're not going to be healthy. It's going to be trash, garbage food, because usually those people are also, unfortunately, in usually food deserts, which food deserts just means like you don't have like, a Jewel, a Kroger, a Publix, whatever you have in your area. That supplies healthy food. They might have like a bunch of dollar stores, which we know dollar stores don't have really the healthiest of food.
No.
You go there like to sneak in candy for the movie, usually, and to buy, like toothpaste for $1 that I'm not going to pay $3 at Jewel for. Duh. So
I feel like
go to the dollar store if you can.
That was more about you.
But also at the same time, the Killer song is one of many that I haven't seen come out too much of from a more popularized band in the scene. We obviously seen like Anti-Flag because they are a political punk band, and they're going to be talking about what's going on and be highly, criticizing, the presidency and everything that has been going on and not addressed. So it's really interesting for an alternative band who has that publicity to come forefront and say, like, there's an issue here, because it also gives more of a voice, I guess. I feel like it's worse when you hear the underground bands that nobody really wants to, like, hear besides their bangers coming out with, like, fuck you, like, this isn't cool songs, like, in your face.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot of bands that want to put themselves on record with protest songs. I mean, punk rock is founded in that, and a lot of punk bands, even, I don't know, it's just like punk bands are like, that's what they do. Like, so they're talking about whatever's going on, no matter when it is. And now we've been in sort of this shithole for like a couple of years now, where we just sort of acknowledge that like shit is bad, and it's not bad because the president is bad. It's bad because a lot of things are bad and have been bad, and we need to address all of them. I mean, their song isn't so specific on anything and any actions to take, but it is at least bringing them up at I think in a way to like motivate. I think in a way to make people get a little catharsis from just knowing that there's a voice out there trying to say what they're feeling. But there aren't a lot of bands doing it. There aren't a lot of bands that are saying we disagree with this government, we disagree with this administration, we disagree with this. There's just a lot of people that are like, this is how I feel because of it, which is totally reasonable and totally useful in any time period. It's useful to have the catharsis of knowing that someone else is out there feeling the same way you're feeling and listening to music because of that. But it's weird that no bands really want to address specifically what's happening and say this isn't right. I know there's a couple lines in there like, we got a problem with guns, which really hit me. Is like, it's a very simple way of saying it, especially from a band like the Killers, who are from fucking Utah. It's like, they're a Mormon upbringing in Utah or whatever, or Vegas. Sorry, not Vegas. I mean Vegas.
They got Mormons in Vegas.
Yeah, there's Mormon. I mean, it's a different area than like Chicago. It's a different area than like a major.
It's a traditional red state instead of a blue state.
Yeah, it's different topography, different everything. So like the idea that it's coming from them and that they've grown and learned, but they're a pop band. They could just stick to writing pop songs and do well off of their successes. And the fact that they wanted to do a song like this is very out of character. But I feel like there aren't enough bands that are speaking up about what they actually believe in their music, as opposed to just saying it on Twitter or saying it in retweets or saying it on, just like, why aren't they using their art to try to make a difference as well?
Right. And I mean, like, you see a lot of big pop acts even saying, like, I mean, Cardi B just the other day,
Yeah,
like a huge rant.
the fucking Cardi
And
B
I
rant.
think that's like the last person I would expect to be on like a rant about like the government shutdown and furloughed. Wow, words I cannot.
Yeah,
Furloughed. Thank you.
it's
I'm too tired.
a weird word for 2019.
By the way, there's a good local Chicago band called Furlough. Go check them out. Sidebar. But even if like pop artists, and I know the argument can be made of, oh, they have to do it because it's publicity, but also at the same time, you have to be educated enough on whatever the topic is to be able to carry a coherent, relevant, sustainable conversation about these things. So I really doubt, unless they're getting like a lot of media training on it, which that's a lot of money and really fucking stupid if that's so. But, you know, you have people in the underground scene and they can tweet from their own personal accounts that I've seen, like individual band members will be more vocal, but underneath their whole umbrella of their, you know, their band, they don't want to say anything, which I feel is nothing positive towards what they hypothetically stand for. Then I feel like it's very poserish.
I think
Honestly,
a little bit.
I'm gonna say it. You know, people are gonna be pissed. Poserish if you're gonna be in a fucking scene found in you know, with exclusivity and wanting to have the freedom of expression and acceptance, and you do not fucking vocalize it and try to help those other people. That's a fucking poser. Go watch SLC Punk. You'll see what a poser is. It's you.
Wow. I think, I mean, obviously the main reason I would think that people wouldn't want to write it in the music is money. I mean, bands don't make a lot of money if they're in the underground, obviously, and trying to get the majority of people to like your music, I think, is one of the reasons why you wouldn't want to alienate a fan because of your leanings. If somebody who, you know, if somebody believes something different than you and they won't listen to your music because you say these things. But I also am like, do you need those fans now? Like, is now the time to like take is this the time to like die on the hill of like, I don't make a lot of money and I don't want to alienate somebody whose beliefs are what I interpret as morally incorrect? If somebody's like, we can't change the law around guns even if a bunch of kids are shot, is that somebody that you're like, please buy my record about how you know, my girlfriend broke up with me? Like, it's yeah, like,
exactly. Like, do I want you to understand and heal from this? I don't know. Do I want to be petty? Maybe.
I also like don't know, you know, I don't think the Killers are changing many minds. I don't think the Killers writing this song, putting out the song, is going to change a lot of minds on the issues, even the issues that they bring up in the song. I don't think, you know, with the Gillette ad that's like going, I don't know why people are still talking about this shit. I have no idea why people are still talking about this shit. It's and like
they're throwing away their Gillette. I don't.
Yeah,
let boys cry and just hug them sometimes.
Yeah, it's innocuous, or that's not the word I want, but it's just it's sorry, it's ridiculous that we are still having the conversation about this ad. It is like, I do agree that it's a corporation trying to make a point. And the point is, I think the point is good. It still is not going to motivate me to buy Gillette razors, but the point is good. The point is there. People reacting that against entirely what's in the message of the video are fucking stupid, fucking morons that are saying you're blaming all men for the actions of a few, and it's like, yeah, it really sucks when you do that to a whole group of people, doesn't it? So anyway,
right. But we're just not going to discuss that because it's not relevant or the same.
But I think that I heard somebody put it in one way, but meaning Philip DeFranco on YouTube. He puts it this way for everything when people have backlash against opinions on the internet, is that you're only mad at the opinions you don't agree with, or you only support the companies that send a message that you do agree with, which I think is fair. I try my best not to be siloed in by only hearing messages that I'm, you know, that I agree with. but I also am like, I do agree with the moral. I feel the moral right, the moral correctitude, more so than I like the idea of saying that men should hold other men accountable, which I think was the main message of that video, is that men should hold other men accountable. That is our role. I think that that's totally agreeable. I think that's realistic. Will I listen to people who have a differing opinion on that? Yeah. And then I will go, that opinion fucking sucks. Like, you're a moron. Like, and that,
I mean, you'll maybe do it in a nice way until, like,
no, fuck
it gets to a point where you're like, I can't say this nice way
no,
anymore.
fuck them. Like, I haven't heard any personal opinion on it to me. Like, I haven't talked about this with anybody.
Yeah, I haven't really heard that many people, like, close range to me who have, like, you know, opposed it or really had too much of an input on it in general. I had friends would be like, oh, Gillette had this thing, did you hear? So it's more informative rather than opinionated. So that's more of my take on it.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't heard anybody feel any way, one way or the other about it. But I also am like, you're seeing backlash on the internet. You're seeing backlash in, you know, online anonymity. You're seeing backlash, which isn't backlash. That is online anonymity. I have opinions. I have feelings. I have a keyboard. I'm going to let you know what they all are. As opposed to having a real conversation with somebody in real life, which, I mean, who knows if that's what the motivation behind the Gillette ad or behind the Killer song is. Like, we don't know what the motivation is. Gillette is probably to sell razors and the Killers is probably to sell records. And maybe taking like a strong opinion one way or the other will sell a lot of razors or records, razor records to, like, maybe that'll sell more to certain people, but I don't know. I don't know really what the motivation is there. I don't know if it's to try to change minds. I know that when we talk about this shit on our podcast is primarily just to educate, give our opinion, and try to have conversations with people that aren't somebody that everybody would normally talk to. Somebody that maybe I or you wouldn't necessarily normally talk to. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a motivation behind it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is an advert, so it is meant to sell. So it is definitely playing at your heartstrings, which is one of the biggest reasons people do different target ads and target marketing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's what it's for. But the ultimate message, you know, I feel like there is some good intentions besides profitability beneath it all.
I agree. I mean, usually people, like a big company like Gillette hires somebody to do the advertising. So it's not like the CEO of Gillette is like, man, we really got to stop rape. Like, he's just doing whatever he's doing while they hire a company to make the video for them and create it, you know, and it's got to be lowest common denominator. So it's pretty, like, in its messaging is pretty basic and pretty like upfront. Like, there's no hidden messaging there. Same with the Killers, I guess, too, is because they're just straight up specific about what they're arguing. But I don't know. Maybe there's something behind the fact that they just want to make it lowest common denominator as far as people and just make sure their message is not construed in any way. Yeah, I think like of recent like protest songs, like I guess Childish Gambino's "This Is America" would be another one that's more recent. But that one, the message is not straightforward. Like it's
right. Like the biggest thing for that, you kind of have to watch the music video because there's so many like little innuendos and like different themes that are in it. So like if you listen to it, the song bops, but if you have to really watch the visual of it to really understand the full message she's trying to send.
Yeah. I think that it's a lot more of like the way the music is produced, the video, like you said, and just all around it, instead of just like, these are the words I'm using and saying to make the point. So I mean, maybe more artists could think that way. Like, you know, if you have this message, if you want to say something like this, there's other ways to do it where it doesn't necessarily alienate an audience that maybe is like, because I really fucking hate the whole like shut up and sing argument, which is like, fuck you. But you know, an artist can do whatever the fuck they want whenever they fucking want. It doesn't really matter. Do whatever makes you happy as an artist, and if you lose fans, then fuck those fans. They'll come back if they like your old shit enough.
Exactly. I mean, like people with Betty Nelson and Census Fails, when they said that they were going to edit out some of their older music to exclude words like whore and bitch, because they're like, that just doesn't reflect it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and they're just like, okay, cool. Like
his tweeting, like in response to those people, was amazing. Like it was the perfect, like, I'm in a fucking punk band, I don't care.
Literally.
I've never been a huge Census Fail fan musically, but god damn it, do I respect Buddy Nielsen as a person.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, Census Fail, like, I never hopped on the train as much as other people have had, but, you know, just the fact that this guy is a very stand-up individual and, like, actually has the ethos of punk within every inch of his goddamn being.
Yep. Oh god, I love it. But yeah, I don't know. I would be very excited to see more artists take a stand, more artists get involved. Actually, going back to our original conversation about Brendan Urie on Twitch, he announced that he wanted to get like the ability to make donations on Twitch, which you can do without like all the partnerships and everything. But he said, obviously, I don't want that money to go to me. It's all going to go to the Highest Hopes Foundation. Right. Maybe more artists could put money where their mouth is at, where it's like, I don't need the money, but I do want to support this, whatever it is for that artist. Which, you know, if you're worried about alienating your fans with your music, then at least like you can do something good with your music to promote it in another way. Like promote what you believe in another way. That doesn't mean that you're changing up your artistic style. Protest songs aren't for everybody.
Right, we get that. I mean, like, not everyone's going to listen to Rise Against and, you know, be like, yes, this is a political message I stand by, because I know people who listen to Rise Against and, like, they are not political at all, or and, like, don't understand that what it's really talking about. Or people will be, like, listening to Swing Life Away and be like, oh, they live on minimum wage, though. And I'm like, you're really, like, missing this whole...
You're missing the overall story.
This is way over your head.
When did Rise Against become the soundtrack for, like, Football Bros in high school?
I don't know. I don't understand. I feel like when Skillet did.
Oh, all right. That's fair.
I think they're all like wrapped up in that.
Yeah,
somehow.
Fair.
But I mean, you know, politics isn't just reserved specifically for punk only. You can incorporate it into so many other like facets of rock and emo and punk. And I mean, emo's a subset of punk. Like, it's inherently ingrained into, you know, everything that emo is. Like, yes, you're sadder about things. You're usually talking about how your boyfriend or girlfriend left you. But you can also write a sad song about, like, you know, the shit that happens at the fucking wall border right now.
Yeah, you could. If you're...
Also, if anything, sure, you get a lot of people who have been in relationships, obviously, especially if you're, like, you know, in your mid-20s. You know, you generally assume that most people have at least, like, one or half or something of a relationship of some sort that they can relate to it. But you're also alienating people, possibly, who... one, either maybe don't have that, but also have people who are like, well, this isn't the biggest concern of my life. The biggest concern of my life is, you know, my parents getting deported, you know, like having issues with poverty and other things like that. And I do feel like you could, you know, incorporate, like, if you really just are like, no, I really want to sing about my girlfriend leaving me, be like, okay, like, there's gotta be a way. You're creative enough. There's a way to intermingle these things in.
Maybe this is...
not everything has to be about you.
I agree. I actually was thinking about what you were saying, was like, maybe this is the time for more people of color to really put out music, because it's like we were saying to Ariel in the when we were interviewing them for Black Lives Matter, is like you're getting the same feeling from the music, even though your experiences are different. So maybe now is the time where we need more people of color to make music where it's about what is happening to you. If it's somebody who's been affected by the Muslim ban, or it's somebody who's affected by this fucking shutdown with the border wall, if it's people who want to write more about Black Lives Matter, if it's just more bands and people of color, women of color, with what's
and also
going on with that
platform to talk about it too.
Yeah,
is the biggest thing, and acknowledging that they're there and not subscribing to tokenism, being like, look, we have this one Latina band over here, and now we're gonna profit off of it for the entire time instead of openly searching and welcoming other types of bands, who are like Muslim primarily, or people who are Black and in a band. Like, there's more out there, like, for sure. And we have to stop being so closed-minded. And the other thing I can see people saying is, oh, but they're not local. They're local if you look. If you really fucking look, they're local. They're there. They're probably in the scenes that you don't go into. They're the areas that you say, that's dangerous. That's where they are, because that's where they live, and they're going to be singing songs about that. And you're not going to have probably the same experiences, but I feel like you owe it to yourself to further educate yourself on what's going on in different areas besides your own, because that keeps you entrapped in a bubble, and then it creates another ecosphere that you don't understand, and you can have sympathy, but you're not going to have a lot of empathy for those people who are experiencing, possibly worse hardships than you are.
I think too, if you are somebody who thinks that they should have a platform, and you're, me, a white guy, and who gets a platform because I'm middle class and white, give that platform to other people. Like, use what you have to if you can find a band that exists, then go and find that band and say, hey, I think that your guys are great. I want to put you on a show. If that doesn't exist and you think that it should, motivate, find a way to give a platform to people to do it. There's probably somebody out there, like we were saying, with like women moving into job roles where they want to be, but because the environment is so toxic against women to move into the music industry or whatever else it is like, be an advocate in your own way to make it more acceptable and give a better opportunity for those people to be in the scene, because I think it's a better chance that they want to be a part of it. People want to make art that they want to be seen, but they worry that people are not going to care. And maybe we need to show people will care. If you do it, people will come. If you are a creator of if you're a creator of a persuasion that isn't just straight white male, chances are people will come for it. Black Panther is one of the best movies of all time. Exactly. Like, people just wanted to see something else on the big screen. Like, it's very, very much the case. Quick episode this week, but we wanted to talk about a couple things that have happened news-wise. We'll have an interview next week if everything goes well tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you next week. And from all of us at the Emo Social Club podcast. Oh, did you freeze right at the end? Oh no, are you there? I'm right at the end.
I know. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
God damn it. All right, say something.
Okay, bye.
Bye.